everybody, and welcome to Generally Speaking, the podcast that bridges the worlds of pop culture and personal development. I am your host, Jennifer Snook, and I am so happy to be here with you today. I hope everything has been going well in your world. Here is what's been going on in mine. You guys, a lot, so much, actually. I was so looking forward to doing that family pod, you guys, and guess what? It got done. The whole thing got done and it was great. Everybody showed up, everybody turned out. And this is a true story, you guys. You will never believe this, but literally as I was walking, okay, so hold on. Let me just back up. We had a ski boat rented that morning at a certain time. Anyway, I was not going to have time to edit the pod and post the pod before we needed to be out on the boat, right? So my girls were like, Mom, you're going to have to we recorded it all. You're just going to have to, hold on to it and edit and post when we get back. And I didn't want to hold anybody up, right? So I was cool with that. So I said, all right, I'll wait. So I grab the computer and I go to walk my computer where the pod is, living now. I go to walk it into my room, you guys, and I trip. Okay. I tripped. And the little thing, I don't know if you can see this, but this, sorry, I can't get it in the shot. But anyway, I hate this word, but they call it a dongle that hangs off of the computer that you plug the other things into, right? Well, when I tripped, the dongle has a cord on it that's this big. So it flipped back, you guys, and hit my computer screen. So I luckily did not fall on my face, but I tripped. I still held onto the computer, but then I get into my room. I just continue walking. I get into my room. I look at my computer, you guys, and the screen is 100% broken. I cannot see anything. It is, well, I can see like a top corner, but the rest of it is black and like twitching out. And so my computer is just completely inaccessible, you guys. The the family pod that we had just completed was now completely inaccessible to me. So now there's just, you guys, I cannot even really find the words to explain to you how devastated I was. It was just so disheartening. It completely took the wind out of my sails, but I was in Austin. There was absolutely nothing I could do. We were up against it. We had to get out on that boat. And as heartbroken as I was that I wasn't going to get to post this pod, we had so much momentum. Everyone there was looking forward to seeing it. Everybody was excited to see it. And suddenly the pod was no more. And not only was it no more, but like for the rest of the trip, there was nothing I could do because my computer was shot. 100% shot. And so I had to just kind of really dig deep to just find a place of peace where I could just put this aside because, we had so much fun teed up and I just could not let this cloud of disappointment suck me in. And trust me, it tried. It really tried to suck me in. I would find myself we'd be having fun and then, your mind starts to wander and I'm just like, God, I can't believe that happened. I can't even begin to tell you how many times that day I said, I can't believe that just happened. And then I would have to like grind my gears. I say this all the time, life's not easy. And when it presents these challenges to you, they're for a reason. So I really tried to practice what I preach and use it as a lesson and, just stay rooted in the fact that in the grand scheme of life, this one podcast episode was not going to make me or break me, right? So I had to just go with it. And just every time I thought about how disappointing it was, I had to just grind my gears and pull myself back into alignment with what really matters. And it was not difficult to do, you guys, when I was out on that boat. And I get emotional talking about this just because it was so beautiful. But we had the most marvelous, marvelous doesn't even do it justice. Magical does, though. We had the most magical day out on the water on Lake Austin with the most incredible ski boat captain. She was so amazing. Hats off to Alex. But you guys, so much fun. My three girls were just so incredible. Everybody was skiing. Not only that, but my Carly, and you guys are going to have to, I'm going to put some of this up on my Instagram and my TikTok so you guys can see it. But my Carly, my oldest daughter, got my 5-year-old nephew up on the wakeboard, on the wake surfer, and she was wake surfing, and then she got him up. And then not only did she get him up, you guys, but then he literally, she said, Chase, you want to get up on my shoulders? And he said, yeah. And she goes, climb me. So she's there holding onto the rope, wake surfing, and he starts climbing her like he's a monkey and she's a pole, and he gets up on her shoulders, you guys, and it was so amazing. And I just sat there thinking, I mean, how does it get more incredible? The fact that, firstly, I even get to be alive for 52 years. I get to have had so many incredible experiences with my family, with my girls, and now I get to watch my nephews grow up. And I just felt so overwhelmed with gratitude that, truthfully, to get upset about like a lost podcast just felt gross. It just didn't feel right. So anyway, you guys, so that podcast is still there. I haven't even looked at it, to be honest. As soon as I got home on a Monday night. I took my computer into Apple Tuesday morning. It is now Thursday. I picked my my computer up today. It cost me $500 to get a new screen, but here we are. So, you know, all's well that ends well. And eventually we're going to use that podcast. It's going to be like the Lost Pod. So I'll just surprise you guys with it one day. I'm sure it is going to be adorable because it was so much fun to do. Anyway, Austin, you guys, let's just talk about Austin for a quick minute. I'm just going to say this. I went there almost trying not to like Austin so much, because I know my oldest has been like trying to lure me to Austin, kind of low key undercover, trying to lure me to Austin. And I've been fully resistant to that. But I have to tell you, I genuinely fell so in love with it. It just felt so, I don't know. It felt almost like it was from a time capsule. It felt like I was going back in time. Everything felt so quaint and so homey. And the town has such character, and it feels warm, and it has like it's this big city. Clearly it has a big city vibe, but it also has a real small town feel. And I officially love Austin. And I get it. I get why people can't get enough of that place, because it is special. It is so special. And we had the most magical 4 days there. And truthfully, I can't wait to go back. Anyway, on another note, you guys, so get this. So I get back, like I said, I got back Monday. I didn't have to work on Tuesday, and I went back to work on Wednesday. On Wednesday, when I was in the shower and I was listening to the Heather McDonald Juicy Scoop podcast, because truthfully, I think Heather McDonald is hilarious. And I was in the shower listening to Juicy Scoop, and I'm sitting there listening to her talk about the fact that she was listening to Kristen Doty's podcast, and she was touching on the whole Joe Schwartz Vanderpump Rules of it all. And she was talking about Joe and this lying that has become an issue. Remember, Joe said that she babysat for the executive producer, and then Tom found out that that was just completely a weird fabricated thing. She never did it all. Well, Heather McDonald starts talking about the fact that Luke, Kristen's boyfriend, was taken aback at the Vanderpump reunion when inquired to Andy about meeting Aaron Rodgers, right? When she said, I'd like to meet Aaron Rodgers. He said, I thought that was really strange, because when I first met Joe, she told me that she actually was Aaron Rodgers' hairdresser, and that he flew her out to do his hair. So I'm sitting in my shower listening to that thinking, that's completely not true. I know that's not true. I know that's not true, right? And then she goes on, and then Kristen, she's talking, she's recounting what Kristen said. Kristen goes, yeah, that is weird, because I know who does Aaron Rodgers' hair. My friend Rihanna. He actually flies her and her wife out to cut his hair. And I would just like to say that Kristen, in this instance, is absolutely correct. Joe does not do Aaron Rodgers' hair. It is done by the person that Kristen was referring to, my beloved Rihanna, who is one of my daughter's dearest and oldest friends. And Rihanna is literally a daughter of mine, her and Morgan, who are, they are, to call them family is an understatement. And I actually work at Rihanna's salon, and my title is Salon Mom. So we are very close. And Rihanna is the one that does Aaron Rodgers' hair. She does him and half of Hollywood. So just to go on record, Little Miss Joe does not cut Aaron Rodgers' hair, and it would be beneficial to her if she would stop spreading such crazy lies. And funny, weird thing, then Heather McDonald went on to say that then she took a deep dive into this woman who actually does cut Aaron Rodgers' hair, and she starts talking about Rihanna. So I'm in the shower listening to Heather talk about my girl, Rihanna, who actually is the most incredible. I mean, she's like the most incredible hairdresser in the world. I mean, there are a few people in the world that are right there at the level with Rihanna, but no one better. I mean, Rihanna is as good as it gets. She genuinely is, and that's just a simple fact of life. So I get out of the shower and think this is hilarious. I call my daughter and I tell her everything that I just heard on Heather McDonald, and she goes, "Who is this? Who is this person?" And she starts, and I said, "Well, her name is Joe." I said, "If you watched even a single episode of Vanderpump this season, you would know who I'm talking about." And all of a sudden she goes, "Hold on." And she starts looking through her phone, researching Joe on Vanderpump Rules. And then all of a sudden my daughter goes, "Oh my God. Oh my God. I know exactly who this is, Mom. She's been at Rihanna's with me." Because if you remember, she was friends with Kristen, and Kristen is friends with Rihanna. So she has kind of infiltrated the Rihanna bubble. And Carly goes, "Truthfully, Mom, I never had a good vibe from her." So I go to work. I tell Rihanna about all of this, everything I just heard on this podcast, and I tell her about the fact that Heather McDonald said that it almost looks like she is trying to mimic Rihanna's life. So Rihanna goes, "Really?" And she goes to look her up on Instagram, and lo and behold, my Rihanna is blocked by Joe on Instagram. But if you guys do go and compare Rihanna's whole vibe on her Instagram to what Joe is putting out, it is suspect. I don't know. I enjoyed watching Joe's oddness from afar, but when it infiltrates my world, then I get a little sketch. So anyway, did you guys hear about the fact that the Real Housewives of New Jersey reunion has been canceled? I mean, can you even believe it? I mean, there's a few things, right? They're probably just assuming it will dissolve into some kind of just screaming match. But in the next breath, I kind of think that maybe Bravo is doing this preemptively, because after everything that came out about Teresa and Jen planning stories and all of this, there is so much talk about Bravo. I just think that maybe Bravo doesn't want the whole world to know that they've been co-signing Teresa's crazy. That is my hunch. And I think that there will be something. You guys don't think that we're not going to get anything. They will give you something, but it's not going to be in that open air format that we're so used to, because I think that they're just worried. And I also want to go on record and say this to Bravo. Don't you dare recast this whole show, Bravo. Please do not recast this whole show. It doesn't need to be recast. We don't want to meet a whole new slew of people. We love so many of them. So keep the majority, pepper in a few more personalities, but do not lose the core of what keeps us coming back to Jersey. Because truthfully, I'm not sure I would even watch. I really am not sure. Okay, everybody, that's what's happening in reality. Now it's time to call Christy for our reality check.
Hi.
There she is. Hi, sweet pea.
I've been waiting for you.
Well, I'm sure I know you were waiting for the pod, and then that nightmare happened.
I couldn't believe it. Last week I woke up on Saturday and I went to see and I went, "What's happening?"
I know. I know. And then you text me. And then I was in the intro, I was talking about how it was so difficult for me that day to pull myself out of the disappointment. But I mean, luckily, we had such a great day. Did you see those videos that I posted of Carly?
Carly with your nephew on
I
her
mean, it was
shoulders.
so
Oh,
amazing, right? Did you see that?
I did. And the videos, all the girls, because I follow all the girls, all the pictures of all of you.
And thank God we had such an incredible day because it was so magical that it pulled my focus away from that disappointment. Like it wasn't difficult to get through it, knowing that I was just in such a magical like environment with my family. And it was so special.
Right. Well, I missed you last week. I was looking forward to it.
I know. It'll pop up. I don't know when, but it's going to be like the surprise pod. It'll eventually.
Right. It's
maybe if like I'm sick one week. You know what I mean? I'll just use that as like a filler pod.
A bonus.
Yeah, exactly. A bonus pod. Anyway, and then I got home. I was telling them about how I got home and that whole bizarre thing happened on Wednesday, yesterday.
Yes. Oh my God. So I was talking to you when you were on your way to work. So what happened?
So I got to work and I was looking around for Ree and I found her in a shampoo bowl and I walked up to her and I said, do you know that you're like, do you know what's happening in the whole podcast world that people are talking about you right now? I was explaining to her how at one point Heather McDonald was talking about how people were saying to her that Joe was trying to like mirror Rihanna's life. And so Heather started looking at Ree's, Instagram and she started noticing similarities. So obviously Ree's like, really? And Ree picks up her phone and she goes, what's her name? And I tell her and she looks her up and Rihanna's blocked. She's got Ree blocked. Which to me, in my mind, just kind of points towards the whole, that's like bizarro, right?
Exactly. Well,
and then you want to know what's the most hilarious about this whole thing is that my Mike just got home from being away at work and I told him what was going on and he goes, well, don't you remember like a month ago we were watching Vanderpump and I said to you, does that girl remind you of Rihanna? And he did. He absolutely did. And I just brushed it off. But he goes, no, she does. It's like she's trying to embody Rihanna. And I don't know if I told you this part, but I called my Carly and she goes, oh, firstly, at first she didn't know which Joe I was talking about. But then when she started, she looked into her phone and she goes, oh my God, I know that girl. I've met her. She's been to Rihanna's before. So she does know exactly who Rihanna is. She's been to Rihanna's house.
And this is so weird. When I heard it,
so bizarre, isn't it? I know. Anyway, but enough about that. Let's move into the real goodness.
The Valley
okay, where
finale.
Are we starting? We'll start in the Valley. The Valley finale.
Oh, thank God I don't have to watch Jax anymore.
I mean,
oh, Jax.
He's like the cocaine cowboy. I mean, for all I know, he might not. Maybe he hasn't done cocaine in God knows how long. But I'm just saying, if there was a poster boy, he is the picture of it. He just looks like he's always on drugs to me. He does.
Yeah, his fuse, and he even says it at the end of this episode. I have a fuse this big. Duh, we know. So it starts out going to
and my head. I've got something wrong with my head. I've been hearing him saying that for I feel like 100 years since at the beginning of Vanderpump. He's like, yeah, Stassi, I've got something wrong inside. It's like,
yeah, we know. So it goes to everybody's house briefly and just shows what they're doing, all getting ready for Jax's
big parties.
Opening.
Yeah.
And so it starts out with Jesse and Michelle talking, and he's asking her why she wasn't wearing her ring.
Yeah.
And she said, well, I left quickly and, I wasn't wearing it. So.
And they are clearly capuzzo.
Yeah. I like him. I like him a lot.
I feel like I've said it before and I'll say it again. I genuinely feel like that,
ayahuasca trip,
that medicinal trip that he took really did him some good. And she's even said it. She's publicly said it, that he is a much different person now.
Yeah.
It shifted his reality. It shifted his perspective. He's a smart guy.
He is. I listened to him yesterday on Tamra and Teddy. Tamra wasn't there, but Teddy was.
Oh, I haven't listened to that yet.
Teddy's questions, I don't know. He's good, but I just wanted to hear what he had to say.
So Tamra wasn't there.
No, it was just Teddy. So anyways, now let's talk about what is it? They all go to now they're at Jax's and they're getting ready. Brittany's building a succulent wall, which was
I thought about you when I saw that succulent wall. Why didn't he just hire you? Because truthfully, God knows he would much rather be spending time with you than his wife. He'd much rather be spending time with anybody except his wife. And that is so sad to say, but it's just so true. He sat out there dusting that sign for 20 minutes.
I know,
when it was clean an hour ago. He doesn't want to be near her.
I know. And she was so sweet. So yeah, he comes in and they all sit down, him and the business partner, and he's like, I'm just so stressed out, and he claims that that's when Brittany says to him, well, Jax, we've talked about having
another baby.
Yeah. And then thank God it didn't happen. But then he says what he always says. Carl's also talking like this, saying relationships are hard. Relationships aren't hard, but if you're in a bad relationship, they're hard.
Exactly. The right relationship isn't hard.
No. So he's throwing that at her where, every man talks about, not wanting to have a second baby. No, not every man does.
He's just laying the foundation as a platform to springboard himself right on out of this relationship.
Exactly.
And trying to frame it as a relationships are hard thing when it's really Jax just wants out and doesn't know. I think Jax doesn't want to be the bad guy again. You know what I mean? Well, everybody knows.
But he does.
Yeah.
He sabotages it because then they leave him. He did the same exact thing to Stassi.
Exactly.
Because then he's the victim with his fake tears.
It's my fault. I have a mental condition. I don't know what's wrong with me. That's just always his out. He's just a petulant child that doesn't ever want to take. I mean, he comes off like he's taking accountability. Yeah, it's me. It's me. It's me. Yeah, it is you.
Right.
You're a head case.
Right.
An absolute head case.
And then they go to Kristen and Luke's apartment. But you know what I was thinking? I thought Kristen was going to be a main character in this show. Kristen was not,
Well, because this is the thing with reality now. It's like, and it's funny because there's these kind of two camps. If you sign on to the contract, do you have to show up? Or do you live authentically to your reality where, as if you are a cast member, right? You are a cast member and this is my reality. If my reality is I don't want to come and have dinner with you, I don't have to because that is my reality.
Or Janet didn't let her come, so.
Right. But also, like, I'm just saying that these reality, like, companies or whatever, these production companies could work it into the contracts where there are a certain amount of times that you are these sanctioned activities, you must show up.
You have to go. Right. Exactly. Right.
And I almost wish that they would, because you wouldn't have the division in so many of these franchises.
Right. Like Teresa and Melissa.
And like Potomac before it, when Giselle and Robin were saying that they weren't going to engage with Candace. And it's happened quite a few times. And I really wish that they would say, like, look,
this is your job.
This is your job. And unless you have a doctor's note, you have to be there, sweetie.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
A doctor's note, like you needed to show like the PE teacher that, you were on your period or something like that. Remember that?
I lied.
I lied every week. I wrote a note. I mean,
they come by you and say, P meant you're on your period and you don't have to swim. But I lied. Miss Edwards, I lied.
What'd you say to Miss Edwards?
You just say T, and it means
no. But what was?
Oh no, it wasn't Miss Edwards. Miss Edwards was in high school. Who
Miss
was it?
Ashmore? There was
Miss Ashmore.
There was Miss Ashmore.
Yes.
And Miss Kinzel. There was Miss Kinzel in
Ashley's
junior high.
mom. Yes, that's who. And oh my God.
Remember that?
Yes, good
And
stuff.
remember when we would have to swim?
Yeah, and they'd make you get your hair wet. What a horrible thing. They still do it.
And I remember having it in like first period. So like the rest of your day was screwed.
Yeah, they still do that because I do a lot of girls' hair that are young, the high school kids, that's a horrible thing.
Okay, anyway, let's get back to where we were.
Okay, so they're at Kristen's and Luke's, and Kristen's telling Luke how what did she say? That she misused her words again when
oh, yes.
She was saying
that Michelle had a boyfriend for a year. That's what everyone heard. But she's saying that what she meant was that Michelle had a boyfriend last year, not for a year, but last year.
Right. So she wants to talk to Michelle later at the party and make it right.
Make everything kosher. Yeah.
Right.
We will see.
Yeah. And then Michelle has moved out, so she's coming to the house. And
as a visitor.
Jesse drinks all the time. Did you notice in Big Bear? In the morning, he has a cocktail. While he's sitting waiting for Michelle to show up with the girl, he's got his whiskey or whatever it is. Jesse's a booze hound.
Well, I think that and maybe he's always been like that, but maybe he's turned into a booze hound because so many people use booze to, soothe their own misery.
Right here. I do the same. So maybe that's why he's mirroring. I see my mirror. But yeah, he's got it. I just noticed that he has a drink in pretty much
every scene.
Every scene, yeah. So
what would be interesting, I would love to know if he has been drinking more or less since he has gotten out of that relationship.
Right.
Interesting. Interesting.
So she shows up with the daughter and now they're talking about,
co-parenting stuff.
Yeah. And him signing the divorce papers. But then they zoom in, they have the girl come in. So they're trying to show quit fighting in front of your kid.
I'm so sweaty in here. I know I have the High Pro Glow. Do you remember the High Pro Glow? That's what dogs got when they.
I was going to say, was it a dog food? But yeah,
it was a certain dog food that that they always said your dog will have the High Pro Glow. Nose. And I swear to God, ever since then, every time I can feel my face break through with sweat, I'm like, oh, you got the High Pro Glow.
High Pro Glow. So they're arguing in front of because he says, I'm not signing the papers and blah, blah, blah. They're dividing their business.
Right.
And then he takes the daughter out to the car, puts her bike in it so she could take it to her new place. And then everyone's getting ready to head to Jax's party. And did you see how sweet Brittany surprised him with
his sister? And there is sweet little Brittany still trying to do things that matter to Jax.
Exactly. You didn't think of inviting your one blood relative that you speak to about your grand opening?
It's not his fault. He's crazy in the head, he says.
Exactly. So everyone's showing up to the party. And then Jax says to Brittany in the very beginning, do you want to have a celebratory shot? Really?
I know. Not a kiss, not a celebratory kiss. Did you see their little kiss? It was just,
yeah.
It is. It's painful at this point. I mean, it's been painful for a while, but it's just
in public. He's like, but you come down on her for drinking, but yet you want to say, let's have. You
want to have a celebratory shot.
Exactly.
It's not green tea.
No, and everybody's coming in saying it should be named Brittany's. Look, this is so great.
Well, you know what's funny is last week on the Lost Pod, I actually talked about how I had heard something on Brittany's on their podcast, and I said the same thing because their podcast is called when reality strikes or something like that with Jax and Brittany. Right. And I was thinking it should just be When Reality Strikes with Brittany Cartwright. Sounds a lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, screw him at this point.
Yeah, they're still doing it.
Because here's my point with Jax, the whole Jax and Brittany thing. And truthfully, I'm just going to make a case for this. I think the podcast goes to Brittany because truthfully, I don't think we can trust anything Jax says. I think he's so full of absolute bullshit. Why would we give him a microphone and expect that we should, be beholden to believing even a fraction of what he says? It doesn't make any sense.
He's a proven liar on this show in the end also. She proves
And not just on this show, but every other show he's ever been on historically, right? We thought that maybe Jax had a big change, right? When he realized that,
when he became a father.
Or even before that, when he started really appreciating Brittany, and even all of his co-stars were like, Jax is a new man, da, 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 da. I mean,
it's a bunch of bullshit.
That was clearly just like a virus he had, and it's passed, and he's just right back to exactly how he's always been. I think it was all for show.
He's a master manipulator.
He's a master. He is genuinely a master manipulator.
Yeah, it was all for show.
Everything in his whole life. I don't even think he knows how to live any other way.
No, seriously.
I think he is like a prisoner within the performance. He is a prisoner of his own performance. He can't help it.
No.
Poor broken guy. God only knows what happened to him.
No, exactly. So, everyone's starting to come in, and then Janet sits down and she says, if there's any drama or stress, I will waddle away. And then Nia's talking to Zach and telling him, you need to go talk to Janet about your friendship and the
big bear of it all.
What about so ridiculous?
What about when Zach was talking to
Jasmine
in the pottery thing, and he mentioned the fact that he sent that message about him being in Big Bear. I gotta say, I did think that was hilarious.
Yeah, and Janet lost sleep over it.
I mean, for the love of God.
Exactly.
What did they really think?
Right. I'm coming. So so it starts. Yeah, so he goes over and sits down and wants to talk to her about it, and she loses it.
It's not happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and then Jason gets involved
and says he's going to kick his ass, or don't talk to my wife this way.
And so I do think that the two of them have a sweet marriage. They seem to have a good relationship.
Yeah. Vanilla and
balance.
Yes.
Balance. I mean, I'm sure she's very grateful for the balance that he brings to her life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like them. So so they have their little tiff, and he says, she is the Queen of England. She is dead to me.
He's so drama.
I like him a lot.
No, he's hilarious.
He is hilarious.
But I'm just saying, he's like high octane drama.
Mm-hmm.
Which you have to appreciate. And every show like this needs someone.
Yeah, like exactly. That. Yeah, I love him. And then so they all just have their little fights. Janet's fighting with Jasmine, saying, you need to choose between Zach and I. You can't be friends with me and be on his side. And Jasmine's like, give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
And then it goes
slow your roll.
Yeah. Well, I can do both.
Yeah, I'm a big girl, thanks.
Over to Kristen, who's going to talk to Michelle now.
Michelle, right, because she wants to get back on the same page with Michelle.
Yeah, and I think they did it. I think Michelle was just like, yeah, whatever. We're, she's not going to be close with her, but she's going to keep her at an arm's distance. Right. But it ended with Zach saying, everyone sees what Janet's doing. She drops all this gossip and then hides and lets all of it go.
Explode.
Yeah.
Once she has extracted herself.
Yes.
Well, I mean, she's not a dummy.
No, she's not a dummy.
Anyway, season 1 of The Valley.
Oh, wait. Brittany moved out.
Oh, yeah.
In the very end. Thank God.
Brittany moved out.
That was, I hope. So I was just on her Instagram a little while ago, and she says, ask me a question. But it didn't give me enough room to write. What I saw that Jax did the other day, I wanted to know, because he's accused of being in this new relationship with the girl that he went to lunch with. And then he just wrote on his Twitter account, ask Brittany where she's been sleeping the last 4 months. And then he posted a picture of her in his bed with their son. So
who in the bed?
Brittany is back in the bed with Jax, but she's sleeping. And then it shows. So he did it this way. He took a picture of his son sleeping sideways in his bed, and Brittany's there. So first he put on Twitter, ask Brittany, and it was at 3:14 a.m. Ask Brittany where she's been sleeping for the last 4 months. Then he took it down the next day, and then he posted a picture of, look at my son. This is how he goes to bed every night, sleeping sideways, and then Brittany's here sleeping in the bed. He knows what he's doing. Whoa.
So you're saying they're back together?
I'm not saying they're back together. I'm saying she's sleeping at the house, he says. So I wanted to ask her, what's the deal with what Jax said, and where are you? Then I tried to word it less. Are you sleeping in your Airbnb? And I thought, just quit it. So I didn't say shit. Do I even really care?
Oh my God, you're hilarious.
Yeah, goodbye.
Okay.
Let's go to the Hamptons.
Okay, let's go to the Hamptons. And I am so sad to say that Summer House is now officially over.
I am. Well,
This was I think this was my favorite Summer House season ever.
Ever.
And I think it had a lot to do with Wes and
Jesse.
What would Jesse
Solomon do? Yeah, it totally did. And everybody got along. It was wonderful.
It was also so sweet that, because I don't think that they didn't know each other before, Wes and Jesse.
I don't think so. And now Wes
I don't either.
T-shirts with him and Jesse floating in the pool.
I love it. I love them.
I do too. So at least we get 2 reunions, I guess.
And we are recording this on Thursday afternoon. Because I was traveling last Thursday, I did not get to cover last week's Summer House. So that is what we are covering now, which means that when we leave this conversation, we're going to get to go and watch part 1 of the Summer House reunion. And I have In-N-Out coming, and I'm going to be eating In-N-Out and watching the Summer House reunion. And
yeah, I know. I can't wait.
I'm so excited. Okay, so starts out, we're still at the party. So we're there, we're balloon guy. Danielle is taking a balloon guy in the bathroom to hump, and she's
it's ridiculous.
I am so, can I just say that I'm so, more than anything, I'm looking forward to Paige decimating Danielle at that reunion. I'm living
we saw what's
for
coming
it.
up. I saw that too.
I can't wait.
Paige is the queen.
I love it. Well, okay, let's go person by person. Let's not go scene by scene. Let's go person by person.
Okay.
Okay, shall we? Let's see. Let's just throw a wrench. So that's what Danielle was doing. She was trying to hump Balloon Dude. And then Paige was just being her fabulous self.
Amanda says that she's opening up to Wes because she likes him, and he's throwing this great party, and she's opened up. I think nice.
Both of them, her and Paige, recognize just how happy Sierra has been. And I think they realize that Wes is a real catch for her, and, a possible incredible partner for her to have.
And they love the party that he threw. And
they love the party that he threw. And I think they genuinely like him. Like, they're not faking the funk. They genuinely like him.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, because truthfully, and they both, I think, had a really great time. I could see them coming back next season, easy peasy.
Oh, it's definitely.
I've never been more excited to have 2 people come back than I am the 2 of them. They're just incredible.
Yeah, they were. Oh, and Wes, did you see they did an article about him in the New York Times?
No.
Season 1, he's in the New York Times.
Shut up. What did it say?
Last week it said.
Did it give anything away about him and Sierra? Because we're about to find that out.
No, it did not. They're just saying, look at this great guy. They didn't. Yeah, look it up. He was
because
featured
he
in the New
is.
York Times.
And I am so hopeful for the two of them. I feel like I'm some high school girl. I'm like,
I know.
I'm never like that. I'm never like that with anybody, but with them, I'm
No,
like,
this was different. I know. Well, then Carl, let's say Carl's moping around because once they were done with their fight, he's like, I have to sit in my feelings, but Lindsay's off having fun drinking. This
because
is my
I am
worst
so,
day.
like that. The two of them at this point, I mean, they were fighting through the entire thing.
The toxicity is, yeah.
It is, if you've ever, I say this all the time about how, the universe sends you messages. And then when you don't listen, the messages get louder and the messages get louder. And I feel like at this point for those two, like the universe is like screaming so loud, yeah. Hey, stupid idiots, are you
Get
dead?
a hold of yourself.
Yeah, what is wrong with you? I mean, it's
Exactly.
that bad.
Yeah, this whole time. But now it was like,
and then I grossed out on the way that he, like, I fully take accountability. Say that I don't think this relationship is right. I don't think we should move forward. I don't believe that. But don't try to put it all on Lindsay and make yourself the victim, because that is just so gross and just falls into a pattern of what he's always done. He's always done that too and made it everybody else's thing, or played that game where, oh yeah, it's just me. Carl doesn't know who he is. Carl's the one that needs to give himself the comfort that he's expecting to get from Lindsay. Carl's the one that needs to wrap his arms around himself,
give himself
and believe in himself instead of like putting that all on Lindsay. Believing in yourself is not Lindsay's job. And Lindsay is not going to believe in someone that doesn't believe in themselves.
Exactly. Exactly.
Period. Yeah. Lindsay wants to know that she's with a leader. No woman at that point, that's at that jumping off point in her life where she wants to build a family, is going to want to be with a guy that doesn't believe in himself.
Right.
That's idiotic. That's like getting on a train with a conductor that doesn't know where the hell he's going. Hello.
Yeah, definitely.
That's not in alignment with how she sees her life.
No. And no. And the
truth is, I think Lindsay is such a leader that he wanted to follow her. You know what I mean? He's the beta to her alpha. And I think Lindsay is such an alpha that she wants to be with the dude that's more, she wants to fall into that soft role. Lindsay's the one that wants to fall into the mothering soft role. She wants someone to take care of her. She doesn't want to be taking care of Carl.
Exactly. And that's what's been happening. And since they've been going to therapy, he just learns the lingo. She really is walking the walk.
I'm so tired of people that learn the lingo and then try to weaponize the lingo and don't just walk the walk. Enough learning the lingo. I love that. I'm going to use that, learning the lingo.
Right?
Enough.
Exactly what he's been doing this whole season.
I know a whole lot of people who are high on learning the lingo. Throw that shit around.
Exactly.
Left and right, sweetie. Left and right.
Yeah.
So then we see Carl. So then, I mean, it's just fight central. When they finally all left the house, they decided that they
would talk about the Cuddle Puddle.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it.
All just laid together.
I loved it. They are such genuine friends, and it is so sweet to see humanity like that in that state where people are just loving each other and can't get enough of each other. I love that. That's why I love that show, because there is genuinely an element of that.
Right.
And it doesn't feel competitive in the way that so many of the other shows do.
No, they genuinely love each other, enjoy each other. But yeah, I love they called it a Cuddle Puddle.
I just want to say that I'm in a room that's 100. I think I'm up to 120 degrees right now. My brain is baking. I know I have the hyperglow. I'm trying to wipe it off right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, hey, if by chance you are watching this on YouTube, can you go and hit that follow button? That would be great. We would love that. We're really trying to grow our YouTube. So what is that? Look, you guys, this is true story. Christy has this, and I went and got some mixed berries out of the freezer because I can't turn the air conditioning on, you guys, because it'll screw with the audio. And we're having a God blessed heat wave in Los Angeles.
And here in Bay Area,
this is not
also,
healthy for me. I'm just telling you right now.
we're doing it. First
Holy
world
hellfire.
problems. So now everyone's leaving the house and they're going to go to Montauk.
Going to Montauk, yeah.
Okay, why do we never get cameras in Montauk? Are they not
I think
allowed?
once in a while we do get cameras at the restaurants they go to, but we never see anything like in the car. You're right.
Right.
I thought about that. It's like on Below Deck and shows like that, we have cars in the cameras, cars in the cameras, cameras in the cars, and you get that whole view. But we've never seen that on Summer House.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, I guess whatever.
Maybe we might now. Maybe you need to declare, I need cameras in the cars on Summer House. Because I do think, actually, what are we talking about? We do see them, but
we see them when they come.
Yes, only when they're coming out for the weekend. We don't see them when they're coming and going from different.
Leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah. To Montauk. It's the Montauk.
To Montauk.
The Montauk.
We're going to Montauk. So they go to Montauk, and Lindsay didn't want to drive with Carl. Did you see that?
Yeah. She says,
she's like, I'm down to go to Montauk. Can I drive with you?
Yeah. I don't want to go with you, but take my luggage.
I mean, truthfully, at this point, I don't blame her because he would be grossing me out so much at this point.
Yeah, she's over it. She doesn't want to talk.
She's over it.
So now I think it was going to be done, but then cameras, then now they're in New York. I don't
remember we picked up with Carl inviting Kyle.
With Kyle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he basically needs to run this by him to say, like, Carl's at his breaking point at this point.
Right. And I can't do this anymore. And
Yeah, I can't do this anymore. Help.
And do you remember during COVID before Kyle and Amanda got married? He would go on live and talk and cry. He would have to show. And this is what Carl's doing, I think.
Who would go on and cry? Carl?
Kyle would go on Instagram and he'd be live and he'd be crying.
About what?
Before their wedding, their problems that they were having. And he would talk about it, but he had to show himself crying to us. And this is what Carl's doing. He's trying to get it out.
Yeah. He's signaling his desperation and agony so that people... And this is what else I didn't like that he did.
Trying to rally.
The way he tried to frame it like, everyone's going to vilify me and she's going to, she's going to get the good edit and everyone's going to feel sorry for her. And like, that was disgusting.
Yeah. And so that's what he's trying to do.
That pathetic attempt to frame Lindsay as like,
so he's not the
as the master manipulator when really he is master manipulating by trying to create that narrative.
Exactly what he was doing.
Horrible.
So then so now the cameras are on, he's meeting with her in their apartment, but this is weeks later after he met. He wore the same outfit trying to show that it was like right after the lecture.
Right.
Which is stupid. But so they're in the apartment and he comes in and he lays it on her. So he's telling her, basically that she didn't stand behind him on him monetizing sobriety, on his cigar business. And
can I just tell you, I'm sorry, but I will stand by this and behind Lindsay 1,000 times over. Starting a sports bar that is non-alcoholic is literally the most ludicrous shit I've ever heard in my life. Yeah. Ludicrous.
Yes, like we said a few weeks ago, go to the sports bar and don't drink, mister. So then he's trying to tell her, or she was saying, I wanted to reconnect with you because they've been at odds. And then he went after her and he says, and you tried to record me. She's like, yeah, I was trying to record you because he was yelling and being very mean to her.
Right.
To prove.
Yes.
To show him. To show him.
Because so often people that are, when you're in those kind of relationships, you're just looking for some evidence to show them, hey, listen, crazy face, this is what you were doing.
Right. And she didn't record it.
That's what I mean. Him trying to make it out like she was going to do something sinister with that when really she wasn't. She was just trying to use it as a mirror to show him how wacko he was acting.
because he's trying to end this relationship and she's trying to work through it.
Right. And because he's looking for evidence, like, this is so bad. This is so bad. I can't be with someone that does something like that. And she's making too much sense. And he's just getting frustrated because she's prolonging what he's trying to end.
Exactly, because she's not activated. And he's also saying, I am so sympathetic to her abandonment issues, but yet
oh my God, I heard
and that's
that.
what he's doing. And that's what he's doing the whole time. Give me a break.
He is.
And he tells her in the end, you want me to relapse.
That's what I mean. You want me to relapse. That he really trying to vilify her. She would never want him to relapse.
Exactly.
She's always been on Team Carl. The problem is that he's not on his own team. He's Mr. Lingo. I'm going to say this. And here's some other controversial thing that I'm going to go out and say. I know, people that have been on drugs for a while, or when you get to know their drug pattern. I'm speaking of my father right now. Like, I grew up with a dad that did cocaine. I mean, until basically he couldn't do it anymore. And I could tell when my dad was high on cocaine just by talking to him on the phone. Like, I knew when my dad was doing coke, I could literally tell when I was upstairs in my bedroom. I could tell in the way that my dad walked downstairs. I could hear it in the way his feet landed. I became so attuned to just the micro changes in his everything, right?
Everything, yeah.
So when Lindsay said that night, that
cocaine Carl.
Yes, when Lindsay said cocaine Carl, Lindsay doesn't want to believe that Carl's cocaine Carl. Lindsay, if I fully 100%
He's his big cheerleader.
Lindsay is his biggest cheerleader. She wants him to just soar and become his greatest self because she wants to stand behind that and say, that's my man. She doesn't want him to screw up and self-sabotage and do those things. There's no way in hell that she would have said cocaine Carl if she didn't really believe it. And I think that when you get to know someone, like, I think she knew him as cocaine Carl long enough to really tune in to those intricacies that show themselves when people get high like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if he
was cocaine Carl that night.
Yeah. And I'm not saying he was. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if Lindsay.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. So anyway. So anyway, then he dropped the bomb and she said, well, I guess it's over. And then next thing you know, we're at Danielle's, who is.
Oh, shit. That's right. That was
Danielle, who drives me crazier than almost more than Teresa, to be honest. Almost more than Teresa.
That's a lot. Paige was amazing. So Danielle lets in, everyone's there except Lindsay, and they're all rallying together, saying, oh, it happened, da da da. And then Lindsay shows the door and Lindsay's sobbing.
I know.
Paige hugs her and says, he did you a favor.
Yeah.
You don't know in a year if you're not going to be pregnant and married to your husband. He did you
the
a
love
favor.
of your life, and she could not be more accurate.
And Lindsay stopped crying.
Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, Danielle's over there. Oh my God, I bought Prosecco too. I've never hosted one of these. Oh my. Oh God, help me. Anyway,
they all said that they would go to Cabo or Mexico, wherever their wedding was supposed to be. But, I heard
because everybody had already bought the ticket.
Except Paige. Paige says, well, I wasn't even invited to this wedding.
That's
so
right.
I'm glad it got canceled.
Yeah.
But who ended up going was
the mother.
The mother.
Mom.
Of course. And Sheena was there,
Carl's mom went. Did she go with her husband, the same guy who said that he wouldn't marry them? Because truthfully, I think that's the tackiest shit. If your son calls off a wedding, you're still going to go?
You're going to go to the venue? Yeah, that's a bunch of shit.
Gross. Okay, speaking of, The Real Housewives of New Jersey.
You know how it started with Marge and her assistant? What's her lady? The short-haired lady.
Yeah.
It's not the
blonde yes.
lady.
Yes, yes. Her housekeeper.
Yes. So it
dark hair, dark short hair.
Yes, and she's shorter and older. I love Marge's assistant.
She's hilarious.
So cute.
And this week we see Dolores is starting to get a little peeved with Pauly for not being divorced yet. Right?
And did you hear why I read that he can't get divorced because he owns a brothel with his ex-wife. What?
I read something like that. Like, I don't know. We have to get more details on that.
Yeah, we'll have to learn about that.
I don't know. Is prostitution legal in New Jersey?
Or in Ireland?
Maybe it's not New Jersey. Who knows? Maybe they own Ireland somewhere else.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you've got Frank over there focused on booing up, getting. Also, I'm very curious about the 11-carat ring of it all. Like, did someone say it was like over $1 million? I feel like I heard over. Like, does Frank have that kind of money to like throw over $1 million down on a ring?
I mean, he must have made a lot of money.
That seems excessive.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was 11 carats. That's huge.
11 carats. Thank you. I mean, that's the kind of shit you can ice skate on.
Yeah.
So, and then Melissa and Rachel and Danielle took their boys.
The Mother's Sunday
at the Family Fun Park. And that is where Danielle told the girls that she was going to do the boozy brunch to kick off Fashion Week.
Yeah.
And that's where Melissa told the girls that she was doing. I swear to God, you guys, I'm telling you, this is not about makeup. This is about sweat. I'm trying to brush it away. It's beating up on my face. This is horrible. This is freaking horrible. Yeah. So she told everybody that she was going to lunch with Jen Aiden to try, because she's been feeling hate vibes from her.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the 100th time trying to make up with Jennifer Aiden.
I mean, and then this is also where Danielle broke down talking about the fact that she's
her father.
Yes. She's in a fallout with her father.
Because her dad takes the brother's side a lot. That's why she's not speaking to him.
Well, I mean, I want more clarity on this. Just because a parent hangs out with both kids, like, it's a parent's job to hang out. It's not a choosing sides. Hanging out with your other kid just because they're fighting doesn't mean that he's choosing his son's side. It means he's spending time with his son, right?
Yeah.
He can go over there. Like, if she's having beef with her brother is what I'm saying, then she's having beef with her brother. Her dad doesn't need to take sides.
Well, she's saying he is, so we don't know.
But also, I worry that she thinks that just because the dad is spending time with him, that means the dad is taking the son's side. When I could see that she would think that, oh, you're spending time with him, oh, you're taking his side. That's not taking sides.
That's not happening.
That's just being a good dad.
Right.
That's just not choosing sides. So I would like more clarity on that.
So then Teresa goes to get a free facial at the
Aiden clinic with Jen. Did you see that?
Yes.
And then they're sitting there and they're talking about the tension that happened the night before or at the softball game with Marge and Jackie and Teresa goes, well, I hope Jackie's coming to her senses.
Exactly.
And Jen goes, maybe we should call her. Jackie picks up and Teresa says, hi, it's Teresa. Jennifer's with me. We just getting facials over Bill's place. And then Jen pipes up and says, how are you? Are you okay? How are you feeling? And then Jackie goes, oh, you mean from last night? And she goes, oh, that's sweet. But as much as I would like to vent, it would just be bad for me to talk about Margaret with you guys. And then she starts venting about Margaret. I mean, one breath, I shouldn't be venting about Margaret to you guys. And then the next breath, she goes, but basically she was just defending Danielle. Like, it was right for Danielle to not invite me. I just get this sense that I'm a low priority for her. And when I get that sense, I just move away from it. And Jen goes, right. Jackie says, I wasn't a strong person in the past, and I very much wanted to hold on to friendships. And I thought the way to do that was by making other people happy. And I'm just not in that space anymore with anyone. And then Teresa goes, Jackie, I love that you're standing on your own 2 feet. And that's when they cut to Jackie in confessional when she said, I'm not an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm not an idiot. I know what Teresa and Jen are trying to do. And I'm not going to be the person that gives them fuel for their silly fights with Margaret. But yet she's so desperate for their attention that she is like, she likes that feeling so much. Like, who is the real Jackie? Like, what's real?
I know. I used to like her a lot more.
I used to really like Jackie too. I thought she had some genuine conviction.
She was
but
well spoken. Yeah.
Now I think she's just a sellout. I think that she knew that she was on her way out and she did something drastic
to stay on as a friend.
Stay on the show. I think that added a whole new layer to the dynamic that will keep her engaged.
Keep her on.
Yeah, exactly. On. Then Teresa brings tequila over to Danielle's to look at her bougie kids wear line.
Yeah.
And that's where she told her that she's going to be doing the bougie brunch. She gave her a rundown of the guest list, and Teresa was, I'm sure, not happy that Melissa was on it, but even happier that Marge wasn't going to be there.
Right.
You know, because as Teresa says, Marge is the root of all evil. Yeah. Not the root, but the root of all evil. I mean, I almost died. Then, for, like you said, the 10,000th time, Melissa met up with Jen in an effort to
make it good, make nice, and let's get along.
Address what did Melissa say she was feeling? Hate or something?
Well, yeah, Jen, I mean.
And they weren't talking long before Jen said, or before Melissa said to Jen, I feel like you've got a hard on for my husband.
Yeah. And she's like, no, I
don't have a hard on. It's more of a limp dick.
Yeah.
Eventually, Jen did start to open up. I feel like Jen, in her right mind, knows that Melissa's a good person. Yeah. She's just so under, the spell of Teresa and the fear of Teresa that she can't step into that. But like, she even said, like, I want to be good with you, Melissa, because
she does.
She does. Exactly. But she can't. But she can't. She's really put herself in a pickle.
She's a tree hugger.
She
right?
Then Melissa and Jen Fessler meet up over at Marge's. Do you see Marge's house is so very colorful. I mean, it is. She has like being in Alice in Wonderland. It's like 20 different patterns.
I love it.
And Fessler tells her that she feels like she hasn't been herself. And I think Marge isn't denying any of that. She knows that she hasn't felt like herself. She knows that she's been off since her ex-husband died. I mean, she said that he created a lot of her balance and now she feels totally out of whack.
Of course. Yeah. And her marriage is suffering a little, not bad, but she just is lost now.
Right. Well, because it's the balance is off. And then though Fessler said, I think that maybe the space that you're in affected what went down with Jackie happening the way it did. And then Marge was like, oh, no. That's another situation.
Right.
Yeah. Marge is like, I might be in a bad spot, but I'm not delusional.
Exactly.
And then it's bougie brunch time.
Bougie brunch.
Which apparently means like rhinestones and glitter.
Yeah, you got to be fancy.
I mean, did you see that?
I know, the glitter pants.
I am so allergic to that.
I am too.
I am so like the opposite. I mean, like to me, glitter is the enemy.
Give me my sweats.
I know, exactly. But did you notice that as soon as Teresa got there, a miracle happened on this episode. Teresa got there and a miracle happened. She actually complimented Melissa. And it was a low-key compliment, but
you mean because she says everyone looks nice?
Yes. But the fact that she included Melissa was major because that's not her style. Then Danielle brings up Jen Aiden's puppy party and says, I heard that someone there was talking trash about me, and it was that hairdresser.
Hairdresser.
Yeah. And she turned and looked at Teresa and Jen and said, I would expect the two of you to stand up for me just like I've done for you so many times.
Exactly.
And did you see Teresa's face? She got that instant. Teresa gets that panic face where she just goes, I don't know what the two of you's got going on. Like she absolutely panics.
And it's true. She does it, you know?
Every single time. And then Danielle goes, I really want to believe you guys. I just wish you would have told me that Melissa already knew.
Right. She knew what she was doing.
Then Teresa says, she turns to camera in her confessional and says, it's clear as day that Margaret has two birdies in her ear. Marge on one and my sister-in-law on the other. If anything, we were set up. Margaret was the one that put that information out about Melissa because she wanted people to start talking.
Jesus.
I mean, then Jen Aiden asks Jackie about the drama between her and Margaret at the baseball game. And Teresa yells at Jackie, she doesn't care about you, Jackie. Melissa goes, don't listen to her. You know that's not true. And truthfully, I felt like I was watching Star Wars or something. It was like the light and the dark. Don't believe it. Don't go there. Believe it. Don't believe it.
Exactly.
So crazy.
But Jackie doesn't know what to do because she's friends with Teresa, but she also knows Melissa's speaking the truth.
Exactly. Then Jackie says, I just want it to be known that I'm not on anybody's side anymore. I'm doing whatever I want and being friends with whomever I want. I'm just sitting there thinking, what is really happening right now?
I know. It was bloodshed.
It was so insane. Then Danielle asks Rachel if her and Teresa have talked yet. She says no, and then shit fully goes sideways. Teresa was trying to parse her words and say, that's not what I said. She was parsing her words so delicately, right? And that's when Rachel was like, listen, don't try to give me your bullshit. Let's dial down on your intention. I don't care about what word came out of your mouth that you're trying to dodge around.
He was a drug dealer now or then. Who gives a shit?
Exactly. She kept asking her, but why? What was your intention? Why did you go after John's ex? And then she reminded the whole world that of everybody's exes, the ones that have the most poignant and pertinent information to share with the world are Louis.
Louis' exes. Exactly.
And that's when Teresa goes, don't poke the bear.
Yes. And they're pointing at each other too while they're yelling.
And Rachel's like, poke, poke, poke.
Yes, exactly.
I gotta say, I'm fully here for somebody to poke Teresa's bear. 100%. And then did you see Teresa? She lost her shit again and goes, was John a parking attendant? And Teresa and Rachel goes, yeah, he was a parking attendant and he makes $5 an hour.
Right.
And Teresa goes,
like,
well, maybe I'm talking to maybe.
Maybe he should be a drug dealer.
She loses her shit.
I know.
Like she's not even in her body. She fully
She's not even namaste. She's out of her namaste.
She's like namakre.
Yeah.
Then Teresa calls Rachel young and stupid. Rachel says, you're old and stupid, you has been.
Right.
Dolores goes, this isn't going to end up anywhere good.
And Teresa's like, I gotta go. My daughter's got a volleyball game.
Yeah. She goes, I gotta go. My daughter's got a volleyball game. Exactly. And then, oh, hold on. But before that, Rachel says, how have you brought yourself up? Only by bringing other people down, Teresa. You're nothing but a bully. You picked on Jackie's marriage. And then Jackie goes, I don't even care. And Melissa goes, yes, you do. You were hurt by what she did. I'm not going to let you pretend like you weren't hurt.
Exactly.
And then this is where the best part of the night happened. Danielle turns to Teresa and says, I'll love you with every inch of my heart. But this is beyond comical to me right now.
Right?
I mean, that was... she should be asked back for next season just for that scene alone. This is beyond comical to me right now. And then she goes, till yous was blue in the face, you was, hold on, let me just get this right. Till yous was blue in the face, you rep for this girl so hard, and now you're all, and,
Right.
And then Jackie starts screaming and goes, you can put your shit on me, but it's not gonna work. And then Teresa's like,
then I'm out of here.
Yeah.
She also told her, and you went to prison. You were in prison or something too.
Well, like you, my husband went to prison as a kid. You went to prison as an adult.
Exactly.
Einstein. Yeah. Then Teresa stands up and says, I'm out of here.
Exit stage left.
Exit stage left, sweetie. And then the minute she was gone, Dolores reverts right back to her old way, right? I mean, it's like Dolores is just hardwired like that.
I know it. I said, what is she doing? She's the old, what are you doing? Yeah, she says, you better sleep with one eye open.
With one eye open. Yeah, she had to warn her about the wrath of Teresa. Oh, when she sees you next time, she's going to be coming for you. Who cares? Exactly. Rachel is clearly capable of defending herself.
Exactly.
I mean, with her eyes closed, quite frankly.
Yeah, I said the same thing. What are you doing?
It was a really good episode. I am so fearful that Bravo is so spooked that they are going to do a full recast. And I do not want a full recast of this show.
Well, they're not even giving us a reunion.
They're not giving us a reunion, and I said this in the intro that I kind of think that maybe the reason why they're not, sorry, de-sweating again. Maybe the reason they're not giving us the full intro is because there's been so much speculation that Bravo kind of co-signed all of Teresa's crazy with all of the story planting and all that stuff, that I kind of feel that maybe they're just covering their own bases and they don't want to open up the conversation, any conversation that might lead into them
to that being exposed,
turning a blind eye to Teresa's bad behavior.
Right.
So I think we're going to get something. I think we will get something, but I don't think it's going to be that open forum type of reunion that we're used to.
Yeah.
Which is definitely a disappointment, but no doubt because of that, the fact that we're not getting it, changes are afoot. But I mean, we've known that changes are afoot, that you can't. And also, I would just like to say once again that you cannot, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter what franchise you're on, you do not get to dictate the terms in which you participate in a reality show. And the moment that you start trying to do that, you are signing your pink slip. It is over for you because you automatically screw with the momentum of the show. And it creates a chasm that then it splits, and this is an ensemble. This is not the Teresa show. So we will see how it all shakes out.
Yep, good.
And I'm so glad we'll be doing it together.
I know. I love it. I love it. I
know, and I feel like maybe I'm not supposed to do reality check without you, or else what happened last week maybe wouldn't have happened. It was some type of interference from the universe. So here we are back again, babe. Here we are back again.
That's amazing.
All right, tell everybody where they can find you, my love.
Christy May's Garage on Instagram.
Yes, if you are putting together a beautiful succulent wall like Jax was, this is the succulent queen, ladies and gentlemen. So check out Christy May's Garage on Instagram. All right, babe, I love you. Thank you for spending time with me. I'll see you next week. Okay, everybody, that about does it for this episode of Generally Speaking. I have loved spending this time with you. If you are watching this on YouTube, you guys, please make sure you hit that follow button. We are really trying to grow our community there. If you are listening to us on any of the other platforms, please make sure you hit that follow button. Please make sure you give us a 5-star rating. Please make sure you tell your friends, tell your family. If you love this Generally Speaking merch as much as I do, I will leave the link in my bio and you can get yours there. If you'd like to follow me on socials, you can find me on TikTok at This Is Generally Speaking or on Instagram at The Jennifer Snook. If you'd like to collaborate or want to ask me a question you'd like answered on the pod, you can email me at jennifer@jennifersnook.com. I've had a blast. I hope you have too. And until we are together again, stay rooted in love. See you next time.